My grandma was an amazing Italian cook. She was sort of like a cross between a little old Italian lady from the old country and America's Betty Crocker. She firmly believed that if it looks good, it would taste good, and she passed that tradition on to me. She won all the baking competitions at her job at the library every year, and she claims that her secret was just putting something pretty on top of whatever she baked. For this cheesecake, it's just a basic graham cracker crust. You can either buy one pre-made at the grocery store, or you can whip up an easy one at home. For the filling, I'm gonna mix together my softened cream cheese with sugar, vanilla, and lemon zest in an electric mixer and beat that up until it's smooth and creamy. Then I'm gonna mix in the eggs one at a time, making sure to scrape down the side of the bowl between every addition to get all those chunks mixed together. For extra creaminess and a little bit of zing, my grandmother always used heavy cream and a little bit of sour cream in her cheesecake base. So at the end of the mixing, you're gonna stir in your sour cream and your heavy cream. Now I'm ready to pour the filling into the crust. If you're using the springform pan with a homemade crust, you want to wrap the pan in 2 layers of foil to make sure you seal out the water from the water bath that you're going to bake it in. Place the whole springform pan into another deep dish cake pan or baking tray with a rim that you're going to then fill with boiling water. If you're using a store-bought crust, you can just put this directly in the oven with a pan of boiling water underneath it on the lower shelf. My grandmother always used a sour cream topping on top of her cheesecake. She thought that it added an extra layer of freshness to that rich denseness of the cheesecake. To make the sour cream topping, you start with the sour cream and mix in the powdered sugar and vanilla and mix that all together in a bowl until it's really smooth and creamy and well combined. After the cheesecake has cooked through, you're going to turn the heat off on the oven and crack the door a little bit, just to let a little bit of the heat out and allow the cheesecake to cool slowly. This also prevents cracking in the cheesecake. Once the cheesecake has cooled in the oven for about an hour, you take it out and put it in the refrigerator for another hour or so, or overnight. To finish the cheesecake, you want to take your cooled cheesecake out of the fridge, top it with the sour cream topping, spread that around so it's nice and even. Now comes the most important part, decorating the top of the cheesecake. My grandmother always used what was on hand, and since we grew up in Southern California, that was fresh lemon leaves and lemons from her garden. She would always take lemons from the tree, slice them very thinly, and arrange them on top of the cheesecake with a few fresh lemon blossoms and leaves. This was her signature touch. She swore it always made everything taste better, and I totally believe her.